Ja.
Inte ens rätt kläder. Leopardkostymen sen igår. Jag har bara på helgen.
Alltså du missar årets träningsdag, Martin.
Ja.
Du fick en dag och det sket sig, eller vadå?
Typ. Nej, jag kommer få mer. Jag kommer direkt på nästa helg. Alltså nu till helgen.
Jaha.
Kommer ha hela fredagen och hela lördagen i hopp och lek. Men jag har ju hund och katt så jag kan inte göra någonting utanför huset. Jag måste vara tillbaka var 4:e timme om jag ska köra någonting utanför huset. Det var ju då jag körde Everest förra året när förra året när de for i Sundsvall. Nej, jag vet inte om det blir en Everest på lördagen.
Kommer ni köra med micken igång nu?
Ja, men jag kommer nog inte prata så mycket.
Det är klart du måste prata hejvilt, referera loppet till jag som inte är hemma än, Martin.
Ja. Ja, vi får se vad jag orkar få fram. Det går lugnt kanske jag får fram något ord, men min fläck kommer ju spinna upp så ingen kommer ju höra vad jag säger då om det går tufft. Jag är den på bassstyrning just nu.
Jaha, du tror att det kommer bli så hårt att den kommer gå på max hela tiden?
Ja, men några gånger går man över 300 så går den på max.
Okej.
Ja, nu är det 10 sekunder kvar bara.
Ja, kör hårt.
Vi ska försöka.
Det var nog tufft åt där.
För fel på hastighetsmätaren går va?
Det går 45 för mig, ja. Tror du man får dubbla XP varje gång eller?
Det tror jag.
Om man kör racer flera gånger.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Me Live broadcast of the Z Racing Series. We're on stage number 5 of this series for October and a little bit into November. And today we're out on what was a secret course, a surprise course for us with a new update, but it is going to be Going Coastal. If you haven't checked it out already, Going Coastal has, the new roads for the Southern Coast have been released, and Going Coastal is one of the new routes. We're going to be taking on Fuego Flats all the way into about
Hur många blev det som körde
halfway
nu?
into the new
115.
roads. The A category has gotten out on course.
Det är bara
We'll be going over
koka.
to the
Det är
Bs,
som
the Cs, and the Ds as quickly as we
fluger på
possibly
en
can after the
sockerbit
A's
fram.
finish.
Minus
It's
några
an interesting
streamare,
course out here,
kanske.
Dave. Let me see if I can show it real quickly here, Dave. It's actually going to be Sprinter's delight essentially because it is extremely
Det är en
flat.
stor
Like,
grupp och nu
but
försökte de
some of the cool, have you
utbrytning på
seen
en
any of the
gång.
new roads, Dave? I mean, they are really, really cool.
Yeah, only through your eyes, actually. Your excitement when, well, I don't want to give away the things to look forward to out here, but there's some tremendously exciting moments that we're anticipating here. It's only 19K today, but a lot of excitement in the last week in the world of Zwift, and this is exactly why. So this would all be familiar right up until there.
Yep, exactly. Right until we
Ja,
hit
nu bekläder de
the Vegas-like section, I think, of Fuego Flats. Only going halfway through the southern coast, though, so we get to maybe see Bigfoot, but outside of that,
you
we
just
don't get...
gave away the whole thing.
So
Well,
we
if you
maybe
watch
get
the
to see
wrap,
Bigfoot,
yeah.
but we'll see perhaps about that. Yeah, go watch the wrap, though, if you want more about all the things when it comes to this update. Let's get right down into
You
the race.
lose your mind if you will go back then now and watch that episode. It's the most recent wrap that Anna and Nathan put up. I also love the fact that Anna kind of foreshadowed this little
the turn off. Yeah,
it's fair to say, right? I mean,
She
she
did.
saw the potential for a turnoff route
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I really was excited about that as well. That her predictions about where in the jungle loop, she's
smart
got an eye for it all. She's
100%.
She really has an eye for it all. So, well, the A category, you know, we missed a little bit of the start. We'll give you a little bit of replay of how things played out for the lid. I mean, there's a lot of attacks going. Actually. Tons of them.
We kind of already know these roads as well, right?
Yeah,
They're just leading. This is the prelude to the dream.
One thing I got to say, though, is
up.
John Verm has continually been on the attack, which is really interesting to me that he's continually been on the attack because this guy is a sprinter of the sprinters, and this is a sprinter's course, but he has decided to just continually press the pace. And I think it's because these guys from ESRT want to set the fastest time they possibly can. So they continue to send riders off the front to keep the pace over 50 kilometers per hour, I think, the entire way. Now, Oxen is doing the same. I think there's an agreement going on here, Dave.
Yeah, we talked about it last week about this becomes almost a 60-man team time trial or 60-person team time trial. And I think you're exactly right. These guys are all here to get a very fast time. Just to bring you up to speed if you're jumping in, and I know a lot of folks are probably really excited about seeing the new additions, but we've been racing. This is stage 5. Each week, or each stage, you have as many cracks at it as you can really want to take, looking for your best possible time. That means that getting in a good group that wants to race collectively, kind of like the Borg as a unit out there. Well, exactly what we're seeing right now, to tell you the truth. Nathan, you would be loving this. I mean, everybody's getting a great workout coming up and over the top when they can. You probably won't see many riders spend more than 20 seconds with their nose in the wind before somebody else comes through to relay them. So this is going to be really quick. You were talking about 50 kilometers per hour. That's going to be 30 plus miles per hour. That is flat out flying, whether in real life or on Zwift out here. So good job, Michael Podsaline, the firefighter out of Connecticut there for Wahoo LaColle. They got some big engines here, Nathan. Expect this could be one of, especially with the I'd call it the broadcast factor, the broadcast bump. These guys should be even more motivated than ever to crush it today.
Yeah, and we do see lots of power-ups being thrown down, I think, coming on through this section of course. Kind of interesting. One thing I'm going to double-check here is when the next banner is, because they are going to get another power-up coming through the sprint banner, the first sprint banner on the southern coast, actually. So they will have another addition for a power-up, so that is why they use that one through that little uphill in this oasis area. One of the things that we talked about, I saw on some of the forums and some chatter, was perhaps the idea of having some new roads in this area as well. I don't know if you ever noticed some of our old introduction videos that we had made way back in the day when Fuego Flats was first released. went up and over the top of that oasis, and actually up and over the top of there's a gigantic pool of water that we just went under. So when you see those little waterfalls coming down through that oasis, there's actually pools of water up on top that's coming out of. And what would be really interesting if we were climb up there and then down the backside and out into this massive desert, because we can actually show it to you, which right here, if you see at the top here, we just went through this oasis up toward the upper right-hand corner of this desert area. And then that giant pool, that is where all that water is dropping down from. And what would be kind of interesting is, I mean, look at all this unused land out here. Massive amounts of it. So I wonder if there's maybe something that may be coming down the line. Obviously, I'm getting way into weeds of all things when it comes to the reality of what could be possible out on Zwift here.
Well, the Toll Condominium Corporation has actually invested in some land out there, and they've got some plans that they would dovetail quite nicely to some Zwift routes. Just saying. Yeah, it's. I'll tell you, it's out of your price range, Nathan. So, hey, I saw Charles McCarthy in the mix here today. Good old Charles. He's another one of the tremendous forces for positivity in our Zwift community. He's riding for Maine.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That's the shooting.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, my bad.
No, not sadly, Nathan, in America, there's so many of these that you can barely keep track. So, Charles, I appreciate your sentiment there. And,
First I thought it was a new team.
Jag var ju inne och tittade på något race där. Då såg jag, de hade ju legat liksom 260, mellan 260 och 280 watt i snitt.
Part of the Vloso Discord, and I have seen some of the individuals talking about being close to the reality.
I'm not going to name the athlete just out of privacy's sake, but there's a friend of mine that's deaf and rides on Zwift. I communicate with, we do, Nathan, don't we? Quite a bit with a bunch of people. Nothing new there. But this shooting that Charles is referencing there heavily impacted the deaf community in Lewiston, Maine. They all get together and play corn. It makes me so sad. It really does. So the best thing you can do when you're sad, Nathan, or when you're hurting, is get on a bike and ride. 100%. Get those positive endorphins going to your brain, and just like every time. Oh, I want to talk about the action because there's going to be Torben Oxen, Nathan, the Danish rider, super strong. What do these two got up their sleeve right now?
Yeah,
as it looks like,
I think on
the
flat
Polish
courses
rider,
like this, what's interesting is if there's a lot of motivated individuals to jump across, you get a couple up front, and then you leave behind the individuals maybe that aren't quite as motivated. And the only thing, here's the thing, is if there's enough to get across. Well, perhaps a little bit. And then they end up just sitting in a grave that is the pack, right? Like that's what ends up happening.
100%. Let me tell you something about that dead weight, Nathan, as you would well know. You drag around a sprinter long enough, let them sit in the slipstream, they all of a sudden get like at the horse that can smell the barn from a mile away. Their energy level and ambition changes dramatically when they can smell the finish line or see the finish line. And that's exactly why you want to, I mean, dead weight is a joke, but when you have riders sitting in a group, if it's going to be a sprint, which this most likely will be, again, today we're out here trying to get a best GC time, but also racers gonna race. And these guys are absolutely going to throw down, whether it's a sprint or trying to chase back a late attack. Either way, it turns into a frenetic finale. Hey, what can we do, Mark Baker?
Yeah, we're getting lots of comments in the game here. Left-hand turn here, everybody. If you have not seen these sections of course yet, well, here we go. We're about to hit up that southern coast, and there's going to be a lot of new images. You might also notice that the game has slightly changed in look. We've got a little bit more vibrancy that has been added, actually, both in graphics and how it's presented to us, as well as some additions when it comes to the foliage and other things, like some of the depth to the graphics have been changed a little bit too. You'll notice that more shadows, and there's just going to be a higher level of graphical output. So if you have noticed that change, it's not just your eyes. Zwift definitely has done some little bit of development on upgrading all the worlds here, so it's pretty cool to see. Liking it, and Watopia specifically, though, getting this little bit of beautification as we hit the southern coast here. You're going to see a whole lot of what I've been calling a Pacific Northwest type of look to it as we head into what seems to be somewhat of a fishing village here that the riders are going to go into. Now, my question is, are the riders going to be taken up by the racing, or are they going to be looking at the scenery as we head out over toward the Crab Shack? You know, I was wondering where we were in the world, and then when I saw that Crab Shack, I was like, I'm sorry, this has to be North America.
My mind is blown right now, Nathan.
So, sitter väl och kollar på din stream nu och lyssnar på det jag säger.
Of course, Zwift lives up in Seattle. A bunch of the team for Zwift are from Seattle, and I don't know it would be possible. We did an event there last February where I jokingly said, you know, Pacific Northwest and playing to the home crowd. I fully acknowledge that, but that's where my dad lives. I fully love everything about Pacific Northwest, and you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what this feels like. But the developers for this, writing all of the amazing code, they had to have been working on this well before February of last year, or of this year, I should say, of 2023. You're going to hear me say "wow" quite a few times, Nathan. No doubt. I feel like we're riding outside of Port Angeles right now. Or maybe the Olympic Peninsula is definitely the vibe that you've got here. So, wow, just really, really impressed. And you're right. You can feel that the graphics and the rendering
those yurts, those are yurts, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah, 100%. That's a yurt. Absolutely. Which you would see in the Cascades. This Cascadia region of America. It's a completely different climate zone. Obviously a lot more rain, really, really lush. So a nice moment to appreciate all that hard work that went into this. I didn't necessarily think that we'd ever see these dramatic improvements or additions in Watopia. This is going to be Jean-Roch that we're looking at now, the Newberry rider here, who's just going to get brought back into the fold. Again, we're with our A's. It's not a long day in the saddle. It's a quick taster. Wet our beak a little bit here in Watopia. 19 kilometers of racing and already 12K in, Nathan. So we're moving into the finale pretty quickly with the group that we started with 66 A's. They've dropped a few off along the way, but for the most part, group remaining relatively intact.
Yeah, as we head downhill a little bit, as you can see, it is fairly undulating through. It's flat. It is flat-ish. And there's a whole big shift on the left-hand side here as we head into some of these pine forests. It's really a great, really great scenes we're going to get all the way through here. It does look like we are getting a couple of riders dropping off the tad. Perhaps, or is it just really bunching up? Perhaps it's just really bunching up here. Now as we head back uphill, a little 2% gradient. The first sprint points can be coming up. Now there is no award for the sprint point out here today, other than perhaps a little bit of bragging points. Outside of that, the finish line will be a little ways up from that first sprint point. So my wondering is if we're going to hit the... Yeah,
ibland hade det varit bättre att släppa alla namn som dyker på för huvudena.
To the town section, that section, of course, you'll see a lot of construction on the right-hand side of the road. And there was some discussion from the devs saying that this area, this southern coast, is not just for the new roads, but it opens up a lot of opportunities for new roads around Watopia to other sections of Watopia. It's super interesting. This is the Woodland Sprint coming up here, though. It is negative 8% gradient, and it's a half a K, 500 meter sprint, if I'm not incorrect there.
Yeah, well, Votlander here. Look how the dragons are showing up today. Jan Kirkfield, Leonard Nikolai, Stefan Volker, the whole crew rolling in this group today.
Jo, men det är ju en... Man kör ju in på lite grus här framme och så passerar man ju en.
When you see what they're doing out here, going coastal out here today. Back with Colors, the Polish rider. He's been a force to be reckoned with, opening up another advantage. So this is where they're going to be picking up their final power up of the day.
Lots of power.
No points, though. We're racing scratch race to the finish line.
But I actually missed it, what the power-ups were on the day today, so my bad on that. Let's see if we can figure out exactly which ones are. Looks like Is it everything's available here? I mean,
Nej,
I'm seeing
oh,
feathers, I'm seeing draft, I'm seeing arrow, and maybe no arrows,
Draft.
actually. So
Tror
it
det är
looks
han.
like we haven't,
Jag tror
I
han
haven't seen a
leder nu,
single arrow
midweek.
yet, I don't believe.
Hi.
So
It's
I don't,
draft and feather.
draft and feather, that makes
Marks
sense.
and
That makes a
tutor.
lot of sense here. So
The
riders, I wonder what they're
classics,
gonna be
right?
looking for.
The original hits. When you go see REM, you want them to play the hits,
Point
right? Not
Racing
their
var
new
ju med.
stuff.
Topp 5 alla sprintar.
This is gonna be-
They're coming in pretty
Bra-
quickly. About
bra
5K to
man,
go, going along this coastal line. They're going to hit up. I think they are going to be able to go through that little city in a moment here, and maybe make it all the way to
Han
the
gick för
transition
tidigt nu.
area between. 'Cause it
Senaste
goes from
stretch
Pacific
race när jag var
Northwest
tvåa.
pretty
Han kom
quickly
trea.
to what is almost South American or Mediterranean.
Han tog vind ganska länge.
So where was, since we've already spilled the beans on Sasquatch, or what are you calling Sasquatch? I forget what that's the Pacific Northwest term for
Yeah, I mean
in
Bigfoot,
Asia, it's
Sasquatch.
the abominable
mean,
snowman.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeti. But
Yeti.
see, I think Yetis are very specifically from
No,
snow
definitivt
areas,
A++.
though. Like I feel
Yeah,
like,
I would say
B++.
Yetis are more Asian,
yeah, I think,
right?
I think no
Like
matter
on
like
Mount
Yeti
Everest or
is,
something,
yeah,
right?
Yetis tend to live in snow areas, whereas Sasquatches are in these
This
wooded
area.
type areas. Yeah. So.
Det blir väl ganska mycket
Let's see
upp
what
för
Chat's
sen
gonna have all
efter
kinds of
portalen,
opinions about
strax
that. You
efter.
know
I'm
they're
gonna
gonna
call
come
him
in here. You're gonna
Squatch.
nickname him Squatch. I like it. I like it.
1%.
There's a
Ja, så det
whole,
blir
if you're not
3%
in the
strax
United
efter, kanske
States, you
30
probably
sekunder
wouldn't have
efter.
picked up on this
Ja,
nuance,
jag har
but there's
sett
been
någon
over the last 20 years
4%
sort of
blippa förbi
like
nu.
UFOs. There's a whole
Ja.
conspiracy theory about
Där är
those type of
4%, en liten kort
characters,
stund.
the Squatch
Ja,
that
jag
we're talking
kollade
about. Where was it?
på
Nathan?
sändningen
Where did you
på
see
Well, it'll be
åkarna.
Squatch?
through the second. It'll be through the second time
Ja.
entering the woods after this.
Vilken ny
this-
fjärde.
you have these little cabins, and then I believe we go through the town. I'm not sure we're gonna make it to the town and then past it. We'll see. Chlor's now attacking again. It looks like.
Det börjar lite
EP now
grann
on the
här,
front.
men
Good to see him as he makes his way through this little cabin section. Now we're gonna start seeing some of the hints. You'll see Bigfoot crossing signs. You
Det är som
will
en
see
234,
or Sasquatch
234.
crossing signs, and then you will see some. What's really
Det är
great
en
is the
kort stund.
town. You can tell has developed a
Det blir
tourist
-2.
type vibe around the idea of finding this Sasquatch. You can actually see this great up in the
Liten
up
svacka,
behind
sen
you.
lätt
You see
upp
that
för
the
igen.
train that goes through Fuego Flats hits up there underneath that waterfall there. There actually is a train that's not abandoned up there for the
Det
railroad.
krävs ingen
That is a
jätteinsats för
section
att
that
hänga
the
med.
train goes through as well. And then as you can see, there
Jag
is
tror
the
vi-
sign. Little ride on there with
Don't
the
hit him.
Sasquatch. He's got a ride on. Did you see that sticker
Hur
on
många
his
är de?
thumb? I absolutely love that. And then there's a great sign in the town that says, what does it say? Believe, believe the something. Believe it's something about believing the story or believe that there's
Ingen
actually
kommer kunna gå från.
Sasquatches existing.
Då är ju
Well, you don't want to hit one,
Från
and that's what
500
they're
meter, det
warning
var
you
ju
for, a
först
Sasquatch crossing.
2%
Is what
neråt.
that first sign is. Just
Innan
keep
det
your head up.
flackar ut och så är det ju bara
Gotta be
sista
aware,
200
right?
det är
Sasquatch
2%
is a
upp. och
wild
så-
animal. It doesn't know how roads
Ja,
and
ja.
traffic work,
Så att
so that's on you.
det gäller ju
Not
att ha väldigt
hitting.
mycket.
So, all right,
Mycket
back to
punch
the
kvar
action
när
here.
du-
Nathan,
när
we're
du
going to get
från
right down
början.
to this one here. We've
Ja.
got just over 2K
Och
of
så inte
racing.
komma framåt av
These
vind
are
för tidigt.
A's, which are going to be the fastest
3
group today,
meter.
but we'll have a nice chance to jump
På
in
din
with
höjd.
the B's, C's, and D's out here. So this is getting frenetic now, Nathan. You can see at the front here,
Då är vi. Det är
little
över.
gaps starting to open up, but as they put the
65,
accelerator down on the
70
floorboard,
kvar
now is when you really start to realize if anybody's got the ability to attack over
Just
the
det,
top
du har
of
ju
this, and you don't
Basen.
want to sprint today with
Jag
riders
såg
like
dem
John
längre bak.
Phantom, absolute
Så-
legend
så-
in the world of sprinting. I'm looking to that Jan Eifert, Nathan, he along with his Dragon teammate Kirkfield put up some big numbers. Actually, also on that team is Lennon Wayenkamp. So we got some big hitters ready to throw down, but in
I
order to win,
målet
you
i
got to
den
be in the
nästa
front group.
gröna pluppen på kartan
Yeah,
där.
it's going to be interesting here on this flat course how to
Oh,
set
yes,
this up.
yes.
It's the first time actually commentating or watching or being any part of a sprint like this. So it's going to be really, for me, I was first time seeing how this one sets up and where you want to go for this. How the timing's going to play out. It's going to be very interesting to me. I'm going to see if we can find exactly the riders to keep an eye on. I mean, at 129 beats per minute here, Flora is always one to be watching out from the WEZ team.
Det andra
right
laget är så
now. I
långt
have a
före
feeling
oss
he's
så
gonna be
de
a
har vi
good
inte en chans
rider
emot.
for us to keep an eye on. But Corlor is now giving a go off the front.
Tre,
No HR monitor. I think they may be required in this. So we'll have to wait and see how that ends up.
det är
playing out for him. It's going to be 1K to go or so, Dave. 1K to go. It is going to be at that sprint banner that's coming up ahead. Already got a drafting power being thrown down, maybe a little bit early, but I think we are going into another what looks to be uphill grind. It is a 350-meter sprint, Dave, as they start to ramp on. Here comes John Verm. Verm's going to be definitely one to watch out for this, Dave.
That's incredible. You get to start building up all of these data points and remembering where that blue house is on the left. Everything together here at this point. You can see left, right, and center. The power-ups are being thrown up here, Nathan, so everybody's going all in now, completely committed to this finish. Obviously, John Verm is going to be a rider that we're watching. Can the Dragons pull a rabbit out of the hat? This sprint has engaged. So here we go. We are locked and loaded. This is not a drill, as they are flat out flying to the finish line here, Nathan.
Verm to the top. It looks like 15 watts per kilogram. We picked the right one. Go on there. The prediction was right, Dave. Watch out for him. Uphill grind. Perfect timing. Great to see. ESRT making it happen. A 23 or 30 almost, it looks like they were able to pull off. Pretty awesome to see. And, Dave, look at this. These guys still have 2K to go. That's how fast those A's went, Dave.
Well, like, they were on a mission, weren't they? I mean, they were racing for their GC time all
They were flying. I mean, we'll get a look at that.
What was the average speed? Yeah, what was the average speed? I mean, when you talk about a group that strong, that committed, everybody more or less followed the script, and they all benefited from that. And John Verm is a world-class sprinter, so it all sorted out the way I think it should. So these guys, no shame in this game, Nathan. They're all, I mean, they're flying as well, as our Bs are going to be stuck in with the sprint. It looks like, can you imagine trying to attack out of this group? Well, it looks like some riders can. There goes Gudjonsson. I remember his name from last week. Hansen is up there as well. So the usual suspects starting to have their impact now, just over a kilometer of racing now on a brand new, sparkly, fresh course. So fresh, so clean.
Real quickly, I want to highlight on the left-hand side the sprint times there. 1953 coming in from, it looks like, Duval, actually. So a tenth of a second faster. Just, it's not about the fastest time, obviously. It's about the first across the line, but it looks like he was able to time it well to get a extremely fast time. Here we go with the ramp up again. Watch out for that blue house on the left-hand side. It is a downhill into an up, I believe, here. Early go here from Brzezinski. It's going to be Alex there from SZ as well here, but Kaboom RT is going 14. This is really early, Dave.
Well, Nathan, you talk about it, though. The Zwiftcraft here, it's a down into an up, right? So it's going to be all about carrying your speed through that dip. Like, imagine a roller coaster, and here we go into the kick finish line right there. Look at the rider in red. Oh, man. That's going to be drafts. Bowen, our man.
Man. I saw him in the pack, and I was like, that's the one to pick.
That's the best, man.
Yeah, I thought it was either going to be him or it was going to be, I think, an OUT rider. Or there was a couple of